And welcome to a very special event on the occasion of International Yoga Day. My name is Monica, and I will be your host for this evening. And we are very excited to bring to you an evening full of music, meditation, and some very valuable information. In today's session, we will briefly talk about the science or theory behind yoga and meditation, and we'll then take you through a guided meditation followed by performances and guided activities by our two artists for this evening. And we do hope that you take back an enriching experience. So let's start by briefly just setting the context of today's event. Now, as we all know, Yoga Day was declared to be observed internationally starting 2014. But the reason behind this momentous decision was the understanding that yoga is a holistic approach to health and well-being. And it was stated that yoga is not just about exercise, but also to discover the sense of oneness with ourselves, the world, and the nature. Now, for sure, the term yoga gained popularity about 100 or so years ago, but the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali were actually compiled thousands of years ago. And the word yoga comes from the Sanskrit word yuja, which means union. Now, there are two questions we should be asking ourselves. Union of what? And why do we need this union? Now, there are several definitions on the internet, but these are mere words till we really experience them. Union really is our connection with the all-pervading power, which we should all be able to experience. And why do we need that union? Is to get a sense of purpose, to have a compass, to have positive transformation in our lives. And we will talk about all of that in just a little bit. But let's briefly first take a quick look at the 8 limbs or the Ashtanga as defined in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Now, Asht means 8 and Anga means parts. So basically, these are 8 steps or parts that act as guidelines on how to live a meaningful and purposeful life. As you can see, yama is all the guidance for our attitudes towards our environment. Niyama is all the guidance for our attitudes towards ourselves. We all know the next one, asana. And when we think of yoga, we think of yoga mats, yoga attire, postures, beaches, yoga studios, and that is a relatively limited understanding of the word yoga. Because as you can see, these asanas are just one small part of the entire Yoga Sutras. Pranayama is also something that has a whole science behind it. And there's a whole science behind breath being a linkage between the body and the mind and how they can alter each other. So we all know asanas and pranayamas, we go to group classes, follow self-help videos. But the most important part that needs to be stressed upon is the discretion in choice of asanas and pranayamas. And you might ask what that means, and you should ask that question. We all have 3 types of energies within us as recognized by yoga and Ayurveda, and they are recognized as pitta, kapha, and vata. So pitta is the heating or the solar energy. Kapha is the cooling or lunar energy. And vata is the energy of the air. And each of us have different energetic needs as far as all these 3 energies go. And all asanas and pranayamas do help address that. Now, that being said, if my energy of pitta is high and I choose a pranayama or asana that is pitta enhancing or heating in general terms, I'm going to end up feeling worse than when I started. Now, as you would imagine, if my kapha is high and I choose a pranayama or asana that is kapha aggravating, I'm not going to get much help either. And all this knowledge about the discretion part was shared in the 80s by the founder of Sahaja Yoga, Sri Mataji. And when I was going through my yoga certification training, the yoga journal said exactly the same, which was asanas and pranayamas could be heating or cooling. What does not get conveyed so much is that we need to know our energetic type or need before we choose these. Sahaja Yoga really comes of help in letting us determine exactly what our needs are. And this is something you will learn when you attend any Sahaja Yoga class. And then you can see that there is other guidance around the other limbs in the Ashtanga, some around attention, and finally, the last one about the union through meditative consciousness. Now that we understand at least the need of attaining this yoga, let's talk about the how part. Now, the knowledge of this was shared by the founder, Srimataji Nirmala Devi, and she traveled around the world sharing this knowledge with people for free. And basically, Sahaja Yoga shares the knowledge about the mechanism that we all have inside of us to help bring about this union. So now you'll see an image very soon about the subtle system that every human being has, regardless of their age, gender, nationality. And this is the image which just depicts on a pictorial level what is happening inside of each of us human beings. Now we'll talk a little bit about this system here and see how this helps us in the whole journey of yoga. Now the system has different components called energy channels and chakras, and we'll not talk about them just yet. Let's first try to practically understand a few things here. Now, as we get through our day, our lives, we find ourselves constantly thinking. And quite interestingly, we have a capacity to keep jumping between the past and the future in our thoughts. But did we ever get curious and ask as to where these thoughts keep bombarding us from? Now, in this image, if you see, there are two balloon-like structures in the region of the head of the image. And you can see there's a blue and a yellow inflated institution. The blue one brings to us all thoughts related to the past, and the yellow keeps bombarding us with all the thoughts related to the future. If we ever, take a minute to study ourselves, maybe while we're driving, doing dishes, or, any activity, you can see that there is mental activity going on inside of us. And without realizing, we just jump from thinking, maybe something about a party or a meeting next week to thinking about what someone said to us last month. And that is the nature of human mind, to keep jumping around, to have that mental clutter. Now, what we do not understand, or what we really need to understand, is that we expend energy to maintain or house that clutter. And that's the reason, we don't get fatigued after physical labor as much as we do sitting in a chair, doing all the mental work. Well, now we'd just like to share with you a little graph of the mental activity so that you understand that these come to us in the form of waves. That is the pattern of thought waves, or the mental activity, as you can say. Now, if you can see, at the time of heightened mental activity, we keep jumping from one to the next. But when meditation starts to occur, there starts to come a gap between two thoughts. And the gap between those two thoughts is really that state of thoughtless, that state of silence. Now, this is where meditation is happening. But the founder of Sahaja Yoga, Srimataji Nirmala Devi, chose to use the term thoughtless awareness. Because, very rightly, sometimes when we're just made to sit in a chair with eyes closed, we find ourselves probably dozing off. And we think we've had a really deep meditation, which actually may not be true. Because meditation truly is not processing thought when we are completely alert and aware. And this is when true yoga starts to happen. Now, I think the next question one should ask is, how does all of this even become possible? Now, this gap in the thoughts starts to occur by way of the working of an energy inside of each of us called Kundalini. Now, if you can just understand, the word Kundal here comes from coil, and this energy resides at the base of the spine in 3.5 coils. And it rises against gravity in meditation and travels all the way to the top of our heads. Now, in the image that you saw earlier, those two balloon-like structures, they at their base are somewhere around the human's optic chiasma, and there is no gap where they are just crossing over. But when the Kundalini rises, it creates a gap leading to deflation of those two thought-generating institutions that we talked about. And now, as you would imagine, thoughts will just start to reduce. And that is when the mental activity graph starts to change, something that you saw earlier. So it's really by the working of this energy rising past, that optic chiasma, or what we call Agya Chakra, that the silencing starts to happen, that meditation starts to happen, that yoga starts to happen. Now, I think we should definitely, talk about more benefits of meditation or yoga in its all-encompassing definition. Now, not only do we enjoy the silence within, we also get the yoga we talked about at the outset, where we tap into the reservoir of the all-pervading energy that sustains all life on this planet by the Kundalini reaching the top of the head. And with that happening, all the channels and chakras that you saw, they get the adequate energy and they start coming back in balance. Now, it would be a lot of theory to cover here as to what imbalances in channels and chakras mean, how they're caused, but by and large, any imbalance in these manifests as poor physical, mental, emotional health. And we try to find solutions in therapies and medicines. And in doing so, we only manage the symptoms. But when yoga happens, we cure the problems at the roots. And that's why we said in the beginning that this yoga is positively transformational in many aspects for the body, mind, behaviors. And in Sahaja Yoga classes, we talk in all levels of detail about the channels, the chakras, the reasons they go into imbalance, and how balance can be restored. Now that we have broadly talked about the need, the mechanism, the benefits of it all, I would say let's go to the practical part. The experiential part is always the one which will bring about the positive changes. No matter how much we read or attend presentation events like these, it is really only the experience part of that state of silence which will give you all the good things that we've been talking about. So setting aside all that we have assimilated through the mind so far, let's just relieve ourselves of any burden or expectations from ourselves and follow this guided meditation activity. Just take it as an experiment and then see how it ends up feeling for you. So as we get into this practical part of the meditation, we're going to be following certain steps. We'll be doing them all together. We recommend that you keep your eyes closed only for the reason with eyes open, there is a lot of stimuli for the mind. It triggers a lot of thought. If it makes you uncomfortable to close your eyes, you can choose to keep them open. But if you're going to be closing your eyes, it's just going to be good for you to know the set of steps that we'll be following, and so that there is no confusion. So maybe I'll just go ahead and demonstrate what we're going to be doing. So in this activity, essentially, we're going to be using both of our hands. And why? Because the left hand is the representation of our desire, and the right hand is the representation of the action. And in this activity, we just combine the desire and action with the intent of achieving that state of meditation, that state of silence. So throughout the activity, we will be placing the right hand over different parts of the body, which correspond to the placement of the chakras. So the left hand, because it is the hand of the desire, this will just stay open in the lap, and you can just place it comfortably in your lap all the way through the activity. So you just need to really follow the right hand and place it on different energy centers as we'll be guiding you through it. So to begin with, the first step would need for you to have the right hand placed over the region of the heart, that's on the left side. And all of the movement of the right hand will be happening on the left side of the body. So we begin by placing the right hand on the left side where the heart is. Then we'll be going down to the left hip joint area where is placed the left aspect of the second energy center. And when we do it together, it's going to make more sense because we'll be talking more about each of these placements and the intention behind it. So then we'll have you bring the right hand back up to the left navel region, the area that's to the left of your belly button, coming back up to the heart. And then as a next step, we'll use the right hand and encircle the neck on its left. And then we'll take the right hand and place it across the forehead. Then take the right hand and place it at the back of your head. And at that time, we'll just be tilting the head a little bit upwards as if looking up to the sky. And at the end, we're going to stretch all the 5 fingers tightly apart, creating tension in the right hand. And we'll be placing the center of the palm on the top of the scalp, right around here. And with little pressure, we'll be massaging the scalp clockwise 7 times. And clockwise would mean for you, your left, your front, your right, and your back. So why we're doing all of this is going to make more sense as we do this together. But before we begin, there was one suggestion to keep your eyes closed if possible. If you're wearing any tight fitting belts, or if you have any caps, or if you have glasses on, If it's possible to take them off and make yourselves comfortable, it would really just help with your experience. And if this is something that you cannot do, absolutely not do, so that's fine as well. So we'll go ahead and now begin with these steps. And as we requested earlier, if it is possible, then go ahead and close your eyes and just follow the verbal cues. So let's just take a few seconds to relieve ourselves of any responsibility or expectation of doing meditation. Meditation will happen when we just let go of our intent, action, and just be as we are. We'll just let the breathing settle. If it helps for you to take a couple of deep breaths, you may do so. That helps the breathing settle down. We'll now begin by placing the right hand on our heart on the left side, asking a fundamental question here within each of us, and you can all ask that question inside you. Am I the pure spirit? What that question really means is there a higher self to me? Is there more to me than my name, my titles, my mind, my body? Is there a greater purpose to my existence than waking up every single day, fulfilling my role, going back to sleep, waking up yet again to do that all over again? Sometimes we're not conscious or aware of that question, which leads to a lot of discontent inside of us. And that's the reason it's important to ask this question at a conscious level. Is there a higher self to me? Or am I the pure spirit? Staying on the left side, the right hand slides down to the left hip joint area. This is the left aspect of the second energy center. Every chakra has a right, left, and a center aspect. We're just working on the left aspect of all of the chakras today. The left aspect of this energy center gives to us that higher order desire of wanting to know more about the higher self. The Kundalini inside us is a living and intelligent energy, so it responds in relation to our desire. So here we take an opportunity to express our desire to know more about the higher knowledge, about the higher self. So here we can say within us, please give me that higher knowledge or that higher awareness. And it's not really just saying, it's really identifying that desire within us, where we really want to have that higher direction, that higher guidance, which just provides all the answers which we do not find in textbooks. Please give me that higher knowledge. The right hand now moves a little bit up, placed on the left side of the belly button. This is the left aspect of the third energy center. Here we're going to say, I am my own master. And what we're trying to say is that I have the ability to make the right choices in life. I have the ability to correct myself. I have the ability to make sure that I stay put on my path of seeking. The right hand now moves further up, back to the heart, where we placed it at the beginning. And this time, instead of asking a question, we will just affirm to ourselves that I am the pure spirit. And that's what you can say, I am the pure spirit. We're just acknowledging the fact that there is so much that my limited mind, my limited conditioning knows, my limited ego lets me see. And this is just an acknowledgement to ourselves that there is a higher purpose to my existence. The right hand moves up and now encircles the neck on the left side. This is the left aspect of the fifth energy center. This aspect of the fifth energy center goes out of balance when we just harbor feelings of guilt, knowingly or unknowingly. And guilt is nothing but a mechanism for us to keep dwelling in the past. So if we are desirous of a state of silence, it becomes immensely important that we let go of this baggage of guilt. And for this moment, we will just say, I am not guilty at all. And if you can turn your neck slightly to the right, this affirmation comes from the understanding that I will face myself. I will not repeat things that set me into guilt, but I will correct myself and keep moving forward, choosing not to keep living in the past, to not face myself or correct myself. We'll now take the right hand and place it across the forehead, slightly pressing the temples on both sides, gently lowering the head into the palm. Right in the middle of the forehead is the sixth energy center, which is constricted due to the overlap of the left and the right energy channels happening. This center gives to us the qualities of forgiveness. The Kundalini is able to rise past this center when we are willing to forgive. We may not necessarily be able to forgive, but it starts with wanting to forgive, wanting to have that quality. So here we'll say, I forgive everyone, including myself. We're not going to analyze as to who we can or cannot forgive. It's just for our sake. Just for the fact that we want to experience the mental silence, we will go ahead and be willing of that virtue of forgiveness, just so that we can be at peace. If it takes for you to repeat that affirmation so that it means something deeper, you may do so. I forgive everyone, including myself. Whatever we say has a greater impact when we really mean it to ourselves. We now take the right hand and place it on the back of the head, slightly lifting the chin up as if we are looking into the sky. And here we seek forgiveness for any actions or intentions we may have had that were not pure. So we can say here, may I be forgiven for all my mistakes. We'll now take the right hand and stretch all the 5 fingers tightly apart. Place the center of the palm on top of our scalp, gently massaging it clockwise 7 times, so that the scalp also moves, not just the hand. And here we'll say, please give me the realization of my true and higher self. And this is where we began at, wanting to know if there is a higher self to us. So here at this chakra, it becomes important that we express one more time, please give me the realization of my true and higher self. We can now bring the right hand down back into our lap. At this point, both the palms are open, relaxed, resting in the lap. For the next few minutes, we'll try to be in this state. We'll try to see if the attention can continue to rest at the top of the head, the point where we just massaged. And while we continue to experience this state for another 4 to 5 minutes, we will have live music play for us. If you find that the attention slips away, you can always use the right hand as a reminder. Place it back up on the top of the head. Once you find the attention back up there, you can then go ahead and gently lower the right hand back into your laps. We will now gently go ahead and open our eyes. We'll just try to take the right hand and place it about 6 inches from the top of our head. Let's just try to see if we feel any subtle breeze, warm or cool, coming out from the top of our heads. And we can try this with the other hand as well. And then also we can pay attention to the state of both of our hands at this point of time, if anything catches our attention. And I do hope that after this guided meditation, along with the beautiful music playing, you were able to experience at least some moments of silence. But we'll continue to take you deeper into this meditative experience with our wonderful artists bringing so many more performances for all of you. So I'd definitely like to, at this point, go ahead and thank Kalyana and Gautam for helping us with our meditative experience. It was really divine. And we all understand that one has to really dedicate oneself to an art. And I'm sure they both have been learning or practicing for quite some time now. And we'd just like to hear, and I'm sure our viewers would want to know more about your journey. And if you find any connection between music and meditation, we'd love to hear about that. I think we're not getting audio from your side. Anyways, we can
Okay.
look forward to...
Yeah, it's working, but I'm hearing. Okay, so I was just saying that over the years I've learned from many teachers, and there have also been periods of time when I've just been practicing on my own. And I find that there are times when the music just happens. It just flows naturally. And I was very curious to find out how that happens. And after I started Sahaja Yoga, I became aware of this meditative state. And in that state, it kind of takes over. There is a power that takes over, and then it starts flowing through you. And that's how the music happens effortlessly. So ever since I've been practicing meditation, it has really given me a new dimension in terms of musical growth.
Awesome. That's wonderful. That's really nice. And for our viewers, today we have yet another guest who has also dedicated herself to music. So without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome our next guest for the evening, Ronnie Thompson.
Hello.
Hi, Ronnie. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me here today.
We are very excited to have you all, and I'm sure, we will get to hear your lovely singing as well, and also looking forward to the activity that you have planned for the viewers. But I'm sure before that, our viewers would like to hear more about your journey in music too. So how has that been?
Sure. I started my musical training very young age, around 5 years, and I had a very sweet teacher, Lata Malvi. I still remember her. And she taught me, but I didn't get serious until I had another teacher, and I was a teenager at that time. His name was Pandit Om Prakash Malik, and he was a Gharanedar artist. And he really enlightened the light within me for understanding music, ragas and notes, and the deeper knowledge of music. So I got so much into music that I ended up doing my master's from Allahabad University under Pandit Ramashree Jha. And I kept learning from others teachers as well, because we moved from the town. And in 92, I moved to US. So I started teaching here. From last 20 years, I'm teaching music, classical music. And I'm continuing my training as well under Padma Vibhushan Pandit Agya Chakra. And I also have a YouTube channel to share my knowledge with anybody who would like to know, with the name of Raga with Rani. So that's my journey.
That's a beautiful journey. And Ronnie, I was asking Kalyan this, and I'm sure would want to hear your thoughts as well on any experience where you see a connection between music and meditation.
Sure. I already said that I had deeper knowledge, not deeper understanding how to go deeper into ragas before I did meditation. And I could feel that, yes, music can be a way for meditation. But during the training, it's very easy to get lost of different aspects of music. And music is nothing but to nourish the soul. And if you get the technical part, too much gimmick and show off in it, then that essence get lost. So when I started doing meditation, my attention got settled. My focus was much better. And my understanding towards the notes became much deeper. I could see and hear more subtle things in music. And that drew my attention closer to the beauty of music to nourish the soul. So maybe there are different things are involved, still involved, but main focus is always just to nourish the soul. So even though I had music earlier and I was thoroughly enjoying, but now because the whole goal is different, so my joy of doing music is very different.
Wonderful thoughts there. All right. So now just to share with our viewers what's going to follow for the rest of the evening. Now, just want to share this little piece of information here that every chakra or plexus inside us resonates at a particular frequency, and so does every musical note, quite interestingly. And every chakra has a corresponding musical note. So there are 7 notes for each of our 7 chakras. And if we delve deeper into Hindustani classical music, there is a raga for every chakra. So our performances and our activity today will progress from one chakra to the next, starting with the chakra at the base. And that being said, our first performance is Rag Sham Kalyan for the first energy center, which when awakened gives us the qualities of innocence and wisdom. So now we'll have Rani singing for us in Rag Sham Kalyan. Thank you, Ronnie. That was really silencing. All right, so we will now take our viewers to the next performance, which is Rag Todi. And this is for the second energy center, the Swadhisthana, which brings about the qualities of creativity in a human being. And we will be going back to Ronnie for the next performance for the next chakra.
जय गौरी गणेश जय जय गौरी गणेश विपद वितारक विघ्न विनाशक वितव विदारक विघ्न विनाशक हरो हरो मम क्लेश जय जय गौरी गणेश जय जय गौरी गणेश जय गौरी जय जय शंकर सुत जय गौरी जय जय शंकर सुत आ आ आ जय गौरी जय जय शंकर सुत जय गौरी जय जय शंकर सुत वेग धरो अब विलम करो मत वेग धरो अब विलम करो मत शरण तिहारो आयो प्रभु जी शरण तिहारो आयो प्रभु जी त्राहि त्राहि अखिलेश त्राहि त्राहि अखिलेश त्राहि त्राहि अखिलेश जय जय गौरी गणेश 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 विपद विदारक विघ्न विनाशक विपद विदारक विघ्न विनाशक हरो हरो मम क्लेश 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 जय जय गौरी गणेश जय जय गौरी जय जय गौरी जय जय गौरी
It was really wonderful to realize the silencing power music can have. Thank you so much for this wonderful performance. So now we move on to the next chakra, which when awakened, or we can say which is when in good health, lets us manifest the qualities of satisfaction and peace. And this is the chakra of the Nabhi. And we will now have Kalyan play the raga for this chakra, which is Rag Surya. And we will now be going over to Kalyan. Thank you very much for a very wonderful performance. Thank you. So for our audiences, the subtler reason for the way these performances are designed or are flowing is that when we hear that raga that corresponds to a chakra, the chakra gets benefited. But better still, if we are able to sing ourselves, the resonation that we then create through our voice is particularly helpful. This brings to us to the vocal yoga piece, according to which we all carry with us at all times the ultimate sound healing tool, our voice. And once we learn to use it right for being able to produce these notes, it has its own benefits. And When we say produce these notes, it's not just using voice, it's the entire voice generating mechanism, which includes the lungs, the vocal cords in the larynx, the pharynx, the mouth, the nasal cavities. So there's certainly a lot that's happening there. With that importance explained, let's now try to follow this activity by Ronnie as she guides us in Rag Durga for the heart chakra.
Thank you, Monica. So as she said, we will do some notes in Rag Durga. It's a pentatonic rag, so it has 5 notes. Sa, Re, Ma, Pa, Dha, and Sa. So I will sing them and you can follow right after me. The first note is Sa. So let's say Sa. Sa. And our attention should be to listening to ourselves. Completely soaked into listening, not into singing, even though we are singing. Re. Again. Re. Now. Ma. Ma. Let's go back. Sa. Sa. Dha. Dha. You're enjoying singing. Let's do the same note 2 times. Sa, 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 re, 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 ma, 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 pa, pa, dha, dha, sa, sa. So if you're enjoying, let's do one more exercise. Sa, re, ma, sa, re, ma, re, ma, pa, re, ma, pa, dha, ma, pa, dha, pa, dha, sa. Let's go back. Sa, dha, pa, sa, dha, pa, dha, pa, ma, dha, pa, ma, pa, ma, re, pa, ma, re, one more time, sa only. Sa. One more time. Sa. You can sit and enjoy the peace. Enjoy the peace within, and now sing a piece, small, short piece of Rag Durga.
We do hope that all of you were able to follow along and are feeling the subtler changes as a result of that activity. Well, it did need a great deal of silence to be able to accurately reproduce those sounds, and that indeed was really very helpful. We will now move on to the next chakra, which is the Vishuddhi Chakra, and the raga for that chakra is Raga Jayavanti. When this chakra is in good state, we see ourselves exhibiting qualities of good communication, a state of witness to all that's happening around us. Let's move on to Kalyan. Thank you, Gautam and Kalyan, for that wonderful piece for us for Rag Jai Jayanti. We'll now move further ahead and come to the Agya Chakra, which gives us the quality of forgiveness. And Rag Bhup is particularly helpful here at this chakra.
सब अंधियार, हे जग के करतार, दूर करो तुम, दूर करो तुम, दूर करो तुम सब
Thank you, Rani. That was indeed very, very beautiful. So, after having overcome the challenges of the individual chakras, when the Kundalini comes at the Sahasrara, we feel that our mind, our heart, our attention all get integrated. We no longer feel pulled between each of these, and the final performance of the evening is around the Sahasrara or the final chakra. So let's now enjoy Rag Bhairavi at the Sahasrara, played by Kalyan and Gautam. Thank you so much. And we do hope that those performances were really enjoyable and silencing for all of us. And do want to appreciate the time that Ronnie, Kalyan, and Gautam took to come and share their talent with all of us and to help us experience more calm, more quiet. So for all of the viewers who joined and who will be watching this program, we do hope that today's session helped you experience some moments of peace and calm. And before we conclude, if you would like to grow more in your meditation journey, we do offer classes which are now online. You can visit us at us.sahajayoga.org to find the class that fits your schedule. There is a new topic every time. We also share different techniques for restoring balance to chakras and channels. There is mentorship and community support that we have available. We also have free classes in Canada, and there are 20-minute drop-in sessions that will be live streamed on Free Meditation TV, a YouTube channel, and the links are being shared in the chat. And if you are in Europe or want to recommend this to someone who's in Europe, you can find free classes on wemeditate.com. You can also most definitely bring meditation to your workplace, and we run classes in organizations like Google, Johnson & Johnson, National Institute of Health. These are just to name a few. And you can send your inquiries to that intent on the email, contact us at sahajayoga.org. And we'd want to once again thank you all so much for joining us. And on behalf of Sahaja Yoga, I do want to extend many thanks and best wishes for your journey in meditation and yoga. And also do want to wish you all a very happy Father's Day. And once again, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you.